Two lives, one truth. He walked slowly to the chamber where his son lay. The guard stepped aside. Inside, the child slept peacefully, unaware, untouched by fear, law, or cruelty. Odiegwu approached. His hands trembled as he reached down and lifted the child. So small, so fragile, so human. Tears filled his eyes. How many have I killed for this? Behind him, Prince Anyi watched silently. The gods are not cruel, and he said softly, "We are." Odiegwu closed his eyes. For the first time in his life, the king questioned himself. And outside the palace walls, Mbeku stood on the edge of collapse. The clash of steel rang like thunder under the great Iroko tree. Elona stood alone, surrounded, bleeding, unyielding. The girls cycled him carefully now. They had seen what he could do. They had seen the man fall too quickly, too easily under his blade. This was no longer an arrest. This was a battle. Elona, one of them, shouted, "Surrender, you cannot win." Elona whipped blood from his mouth. "I am not here to win," he said quietly. "I am here to end this." Then he charged. His sword moved like fire, fast, unpredictable, furious. He struck with the strength of a man who had nothing left to lose. A guard lunged. Elona parried, spun, and drove his sword into the chest of the man. Another came from behind, too slow, but evil fire burns out. A spear grazed his side. Another caught his arm. Then one strike, heavy, brutal, hit his shoulder, forcing him to his knee. Still, he did not fall completely. What a great warrior. He stood up at the towering Iroko tree. His branches stretched towards the darkened sky, watching, always watching. "Is this what you want?" Elona shouted, his voice breaking. Blood, fear, lies. Then the guards rushed him all at once. Steel flashed, pain exploded, and Elona fell. Eta ran faster than he had ever run before. The child was still held tightly against his chest, wrapped securely in clothes. Her tiny breaths warmed his skin, grounding him in the chaos. Behind him, the sound of battle faded, then disappeared. He did not stop. He could not. He crossed the other field of Mbeku, past the last huts, past the old boundary stones, and into the forbidden forest. No one entered that forest, not willingly. It was said the spirit there did not sleep. It was said the trees moved. It was said that once you enter, you never return. But Ethan did not believe in fear anymore. Not after what he had seen, not after what he had lost. The deeper he went, the quieter the world became, until a voice shouted, "Stop!" Ethan stood still. The voice did not come from behind him. It came from everywhere, from the trees, from the ground, from the air itself. "Who enters this place with stolen blood?" Ethan tightened the grip of the child. "I am not afraid," he said, though his voice trembled. He seeked truth. Long silence, unsettling. Then the forest shifted. A figure emerged from the shadow, an old woman, bent, frail, yet her eyes burned with something ancient. "You carried a child marked for destiny," she said, "not curse." Ethan breath caught. "What do you mean?" he asked. The woman smiled faintly. "The lie of Mbeku ends tonight." Back in Mbeku, the village was unraveling. Word spread quickly. Elona has fallen. The child had escaped. The king had not yet spoken. Fear turned into whispers. Whispers into doubt. For the first time in generation, people began to question the law. At the palace, Queen Ugodiya wept. Her child had been taken from her, not by force, but by fear. "They will kill him," she sobbed. "They will kill my child." King Odiegwu stood in silence. He had not eaten. He had not slept. He had not spoken another degree. Prince Anyi entered quietly. "It is time," he said. Odiegwu did not turn. Time for what? To face the truth. Slowly, the king turned to him. "What truth?" And he stepped closer. "The law is not from the gods." The word struck like lightning. Odiegwu eyes narrowed. "Be careful." No, and he interrupted, his voice firm for the first time. You be careful. We have followed those lies for a long time. Then Anyi continued. Our ancestors made a pact. The land of Mbeku was once barren. Anyi said, no twins, no abundance, nothing. Odiegwu listened, unmoving. Our forefathers went into the forest. The same forest no one dares to enter now. They sought power. They found something. His voice lowered. Not gods, spirits. Ancient, hungry, born to the Iroko tree. Odiegwu's breath slowed. They made a deal and he continued. Every generation will give them balance. 2 lives for every birth. Twins, always twins. And if one child was born, Odiegwu asked quietly, and his eyes darkened, then the balance would be broken, and the spirits would take what they are owned. The king clenched his fist. The king reached for a chair. So we gave them more, and he said bitterly, we created the law. We killed mothers, we sacrificed children to protect ourselves, to protect nothing. Odiegwu staggered back slightly. All this time, he whispered, the gods were never speaking to us. No, and he said softly, we were speaking to fear. The truth shattered something inside Odiegwu. All the execution, all the cries, all the blood spilled in the name of balance, for nothing. He saw their faces, the mothers, the children. Uri, I am a monster, he whispered. And he did not respond, because there was nothing to say. Outside, the village waited. On the edge of something irreversible, Odiegwu rose slowly, not as the man he was, but as something else, something broken, something awakened. Gather the people, he said, and he studied him carefully. What will you do? Odiegwu looked towards the distant forest. It ends today. Deep within the forbidden forest, the old woman knelt before Ethan. The baby slept peacefully in his arm. She is not an abomination, the woman said. She is freedom. Ethan frowned. How can one child change everything? The woman touched the child's forehead gently. Because she was never meant to be sacrificed. The forest stirred again, but this time it felt different. The spirit of the Iroko has grown weak, the woman continued. The power came from fear, from blood, from obedience. She looked directly into Ethan's eyes, and now that fear is breaking. Ethan tightened his hold on the child. What must I do? The woman smiled. Return. He froze. Return. Return? They will kill us. No, she said calmly. They will follow you. Dawn broke slowly over Mbeku, but it was not the kind of dawn the village was used to. Drums greeted it, no laughter followed it, only silence, expectant. The villagers gathered at the central square, summoned by the king himself. Men stood with folded arms, women clutched their wrappers tightly. Elders whispered among themselves. Fear lingered, but something else had begun to grow. Doubts. Then King Odiegwu appeared. Not in royal splendor, not in the gold-threaded robes that mark his authority, but in plain clothes, barefoot. People murmured among themselves. Prince Anyi walked beside him, his face calm but watchful. Odiegwu stepped forward. For the first time in his reign, he bowed his head before his people. Grass rippled through the crowd. I have sinned, he said. The word fell like thunder. I have led you with fear instead of truth. I have taken lives, innocent lives, in the name of a lie. Shock, confusion, disbelief. The law of twins, his voice trembled, is not from the gods. The crowd opened their mouths in surprise. No, it cannot be. You lie. Odiegwu raised his hand. Listen, and slowly, reluctantly they did. Our ancestors made a pact, not with gods, but with spirit of fear. We obeyed them blindly. We fed them blood. We became slaves to a lie. Tears streamed down his face. I have killed mothers. I have killed children. I have destroyed families. His voice broke. For that, I stand before you not as your king. He drops to his knee, but as a man guilty. The silence that followed was deeper than any before. At the edge of the shrine, something deeper had happened. The gas had left Elona's body where it fell. A warning, a message. But death had not claimed his life fully. His chest rose, faint, painful, but alive. His eyes fluttered open. Darkness, smoke, blood. He tried to move, and agony turned through him, but he did not stop. Elona, the voice was not human. It echoed inside him, ancient, deep. You have defied fear, his vision blurred. The towering Iroko tree loomed around him, then ended. Elona whispered weakly. And for the first time in centuries, the spirit of the Iroko began to awaken. Ethan walked out of the forest, the child in his arm, alive, calm, watching. Behind him, the trees seemed to bend, as if releasing him. He stepped into the open field of Mbeku and did not stop. The villagers saw him. The child, he has returned. Ethan walked straight into the village square, straight towards the kneeling king. Odiegwu looked up. Their eyes met. No words were spoken. None were needed. Ethan stepped forward and held up the child. This, he said, his voice steady, is not a curse. The crowd shifted uneasily. She is life, he continued. She is truth. She is what we were meant to protect, not destroy. A woman stepped forward, trembling. What if the spirits come? She whispered. Ethan's face hardened, then we stopped running. The ground shook. From the direction of the shrine, a roar, not human, not animal, something ancient, something angry. The villagers screamed at the great Iroko tree, split open with a defeating crack. Its roots tore from the ground like writhing serpents. Dark shadow poured out from its core. The spirit had come. You have broken the path, the voice echoed across the land. Men fell to their knees. Women cried out in terror. Odiegwu stood slowly. His body trembled, but he did not kneel. No, he said. The voice roared again. You owed us blood. Odiegwu stepped forward. No more. The spirit surged forward. Dark, twisting forms. Reaching, grasping. Elona, bloodied, broken, but standing. Elona, Ethan whispered. Elona raised his sword, barely able to hold it. No more, he repeated. The spirit recoiled. The child in Ethan's arms began to glow softly. A warm golden light, a shadow hissed. This was never your land, the old woman voice echoed from the wind. She appeared beside them. Calm, unshaken, live. Calm, unshaken, live. The spirit shrieked. The ground trembled violently. For a moment, it seemed the world would break. Then the light grew brighter. Stronger, warmer. The shadow began to tear apart. Their scream faded into nothingness. And just like that, they were gone. The great Iroko tree collapsed. The air felt different, lighter, free. The villagers stood in amazement, trying to understand what had just happened. Odiegwu turned slowly to his people. The law is gone, he said. No thunder followed, no curse. No punishment, only silence. Then a woman stepped forward, carrying a child, a single child. She did not heed, she did not tremble, and no one moved to stop her. Tears filled the eyes of many. Ethan handed the baby girl back to the crowd. She belonged to all of us now, he said. Elona stood beside him, weak but alive. For the first time since Ure's death, he smiled, not because the pain was gone, but because it finally meant something. Odiegwu removed the crown from his head. I am no longer worthy to lead, he said. The elder stepped forward. But it was the people who spoke. You will not rule us as before, one man said. But you will not run for what you have done either, another added. Odiegwu bowed his head. I will stay, he said. I will serve. For the fourth time, Mbeku did not have a king. Season to season passed. Children were born. Some were twins, some were not, and none were killed. The shrine was gone. The Iroko tree, nothing more than a memory. Ethan began a protector, not of laws, but of people. Elona became something else entirely, a symbol. Elona became something else entirely, a great symbol to defeat fear. And the little girl who defeated the darkness. She grew strong, bright, unafraid. They named her Hope of Mbeku. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to share, subscribe, and turn on the notification button to get notified for more interesting stories.